here's a cut that we did. Looks like a V channel, looks good. Let's try the and if let me see if I can position, but you can see we just made this cut and it's very nice, very flat. So this is exactly the height we want it to be. So at this point we can just cut our piece. This is probably the first time I was able to cut a scrap wood and got it right. Usually it takes me 2-3 cuts. So always have scrap wood laying around. Now there's there's some kind of defects or inconsistencies in the wood. This is fine. It's not a structural design. We're not new to structure, but just be careful. Areas like this, they tend to chip. So be very smooth when you cut. When you're cutting these grooves. Don't jerk, and it should be fine. Now on my fence, I know I have in my drive to finish this quickly last fall, and which I didn't get to finish. I made a little bit of a miscalculation, so I have a little bit of a jump here. So what happens is that when the wood goes over this split here, it jumps a little. So I know that's what's going to happen. I know it's going to happen in the first half. So I know right off the bat that I'm just going to chop off and scrap the that first inch. As long as you're aware of it, just don't use don't use if the groove is not perfect, don't use that area. Cut it off. Use some other parts. So here we go. We're going to cut the groove. So here we go. Cut the groove, and it looks like the jump didn't happen this time around. But as you can see, if you can see this, it's the groove is not 100% in the middle. It's maybe 1/16 of an inch in, closer to this wall. Perfectly fine, as long as the entire length of it is the same way, you're fine. So here we go. See, it's perfectly nice and flat. So at this point, I could go to a chop saw and start just cutting the slices off. But what I want to do is I want to use this piece in its entirety. So what I want to do is I want to cut on this side a groove, so we can have standoffs for the trailing edge. Here's a composite trailing edge. It actually consists of, I don't know if you can see this, it consists of 2 1/4-inch sticks and a 1/16 by 1/2 inch wide. It creates this T-shape, so the back is going to be sitting in the channel, and this is where the ribs are going to be sliced into. I built this trailing edge for Yak 9 that I'm building. There's different ways of building a trailing edge. Some people just have a solid piece of 1/2 inch or 3/8 that they shape later. Really, pick your poison. It's all good as long as you know what the height is and how deep the cut has to be to make sure that this is, so that the trailing edge is going to be on the same height as the leading edge. So in other words, the center line of this trailing edge is about the same height as the leading edge. If the trailing edge is 1/32 of an inch lower or higher, that's fine, but as long as it's the same height for the entirety of the wing. This is what we're going to achieve. This is why we're not going to cut this, we're not going to chop this and make each individual piece. We're going to cut the groove, cut the groove on the other side and then slice it in the middle to ensure we have the right height. Another thing to consider is that when we're going to cut this in the middle, we're actually going to use circular saw. Typical circular saw is a 1/8 of an inch wide. So when you're going to be cutting this board in half, it's actually going to get 1/8 of an inch shorter. So what we want to do is, this is a 1/4 inch, 1/16 and a 1/4 inch. So ideally, you want 1/4 plus 1/16. Sorry, this is a 1/16? This is a 1/16. So 1/32 thick. You know, cutting things 1/32 differences is really not going to make much of a difference. So plus 1/16 of the board is going to be destroyed, 1/8 by the blade when it cuts it. So what we need, so in order to determine how deep to go on this side, so if this is 16, this is about how much of, if we split this exactly in the middle, each side is going to be about a 1/16 lower. What I'm thinking, I'm just going to have to cut the depth, the channel, to be exactly a 1/4 deep. So we're going to use a different bit, and I'm going to install the bit and cut the channel.